I'd like to call to order our South Hill Town Council regular meeting for Monday, July the 11th, 2022. Shall we pray? Our most gracious Heavenly Father, as we gather here tonight, let us be mindful of the many blessings that we have here, Heavenly Father. And dear Heavenly Father, there are many things that are going around our country, around the world. May you lead us and guide us and direct us in the best way that you know how. You are all knowing and all blessed. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call in.
Lily Fagan-Spoon.
Present.
Alex Graham.
Present.
Gavin Honeycutt.
Present.
Dolores Lester.
Here.
Mike Moody.
Here.
Shep Moss.
Here.
Ben Taylor.
Here.
And Joseph Taylor.
Here.
Okay, thank you, Ann. Council, there are some additions to the agenda for tonight. Under item number 8, under the town manager report, letter C will be reference to the South Hill Yellow Jackets. And under item 8, letter D, will be the fire department payments that will be discussed. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Council, in your packet was the minutes for our June 13th meeting of 2022. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We are now at the, in regards to citizens to address council. I'll remind everyone comments are limited to 3 minutes, 5 minutes on behalf of a group. Our first individual is Mr. John Kelly. I would ask him to come forward to the microphone if you would, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I apologize for the notes, but I want to try to stay on track tonight. On behalf of the South Hill Fire Department, I'd like to come to you and give you some updates on where we are today. We've been very busy over the past few months, and I just wanted to share some of the highlights. First of all, I'd like to start out by giving you a cost comparison. Colonial Heights Fire and EMS is a combination department consisting of both volunteers and career staff. They cover 7.8 square miles of territory with an annual operating budget of $4.5 million. Of that $4.5 million, $2.6 million is salaries for the 45 staff members, which they currently have 18 volunteers. Your South Hill volunteers cover 9.8 square miles in town and 99 square miles of territory within the county, with a total annual budget of $631,000. The current paid staff salary to include part-time employees is $145,000, and the stipends for the volunteers of $98,000 annually. And this comes from your 2021 budget year. With that being said, your volunteers are a significant cost savings to the taxpayers of the town and provide a valuable service at a reasonable cost. It is our intention to continue such services. And I do not bring that into your attention to ask for more money, to downplay the role that the town does for us. I do it merely as a comparison to show you that for the value, you're getting a lot. In the recent months, we've taken in 3 new members, 2 of which are certified state firefighters. We have placed in service a new to us water rescue boat at a minimal cost to the community, with all the work being done in-house. Our original boat had to be taken out of service due to maintenance issues. We placed in service a new support pickup, which carries manpower, and our traffic signboard for motor vehicle accidents. This cost was covered by the sale of Engine 74 and Unit 79. This work also being done in-house, which passed on more cost savings to the community. Chief 7 was damaged in a motor vehicle accident and has been replaced at no cost to the community. It will soon be in service. The old Chief truck that was just mentioned in the accident was repurchased from VSIS, which is the Virginia Fire Insurance Services, at no cost to the town, and is currently being set up as a visual training aid for distracted driving. His first showing will be November 5th at the Chesterfield Fireground. It will be a centerpiece for the hashtag Move Over Virginia. This was made possible by a generous donation from Hazelwood Insurance Agency and the dedication to excellence by the volunteers of this agency. We updated several policies, one of which saved our lives on May 15th at 6:30 a.m. when we were struck and had two apparatus struck by a distracted driver. On July 5th, we elected new officers to lead our organization. With those officers, we expanded administrative responsibilities to enhance our community involvement. Our junior program is up and running. We currently have 4 junior members and 1 application pending. Junior members are required to be certified firefighter 1 between ages of 18 and 16, meet 30% of fire and meeting attendance, and attend all fundraisers. We currently meet every Monday night. We either meet or train every Monday. When there is a 5th Monday night, we have family night. On family night, we open our firehouse to our families for fellowship and the opportunity to better understand what we do and how we operate. We have developed a new training handbook allowing us to train in-house and also with surrounding departments. We are in the process of building relationships and team building. We have a multitude of new equipment arriving for our new heavy rescue, which will be here in November. This rescue unit will be one of a kind and make us best prepared for any situation that we encounter. With all this training and dedication, we are considered to be an elite group of firefighters by both volunteer and career departments throughout Virginia and northern North Carolina. Recently, we have been busy giving back to our community. We have partnered with Home Depot on several occasions for Customer Appreciation Days and also for the remodeling of a home for a local veteran. We provide tours and fire education to local schools. We do fire extinguisher training and smoke alarm installs in our community. We always try to shop, spend, and support local businesses when possible. We currently have 12 certified state fire instructors. We just recently finished teaching a Firefighter 1 and 2 basic pump ops and EVOC program. We are currently working on additional non-funded classes. Non-funded classes are classes that we as volunteers teach and spend more of our volunteer time. Our call volume continues to increase, and we are proud to say that we have been able to answer every one of our 911 calls, and we agree that we are stronger together. We are blessed to have a community that supports us, and we should thank all those who donate to us in various ways. We also would like to thank you as representatives of the community for approving and providing the funds to maintain our organization. We vow to never forget the ones who came before us, and again, I would like to thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, council, the next individual, Mr. Ben Kramer. If you would come to the microphone, state your name, please.
How y'all doing tonight?
All right.
Thank y'all for letting me come by. I appreciate y'all giving me a minute to talk. I came by tonight to ask and to check on a utilities amendment that was made to the town budget. It was hidden in the budget that I don't think many of y'all know about. And I say hidden because Alan Elliott didn't know about it. David Hash doesn't know about it. The council people I talked to doesn't know about it. The mayor didn't know about it. And neither does any other contractors, Mr. Hayes, David Williams, that can't be here. He didn't know about it either. And that is the charge of water and sewer taps. That fee has gone effective July the 1st from $2,500 to $5,000. Exactly. And, you know, for most of us that are trying to invest in town, and this is an extreme amount of money. Like just in the little project, you know, y'all had approved us for some apartments on Northern Street. That project alone is going to go over budget $20,000 just in that increase. You know, we're spending millions of dollars in the town of South Hill, and all of a sudden we get hit in the face with this and nobody knows anything about it. And I'm just trying to figure out where this came from, since nobody seems to know anything about it, and how we're going to move forward. Because as an investor, that's an extreme amount of money when you start looking at our bottom lines. Especially when, you know, the guys at the town maintenance shop have been excellent to deal with. Alan and his crew are great. And I saw them struggling putting in some sewer taps Took them a day and a half to put in one sewer tap because of the depth in the road and having to cut the road. So they hired a subcontractor to come in who subsequently put the next 3 in 6 hours for all 3 of them. And the price was significantly cheaper, as you can imagine. So if that's, now we're getting it done cheaper, why are we getting charged double?
So, and I appreciate your comments, Mr. Freeman, and anything else? And I
I mean,
want to address the council.
No more than we're trying to figure out where we're
Right.
gonna go with this and how, because, you know,
I want-
we've all got budgets that we have planned for building in the town of South Hill. And now, like my little project, that's gonna go over like 32.5 just in this scenario. And, we know nothing about it. I mean, obviously somebody knew something about it before this budget was done and didn't bother to tell anybody. And I mean, this is a lot of money. If you take that money out of everybody else's checkbook, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't like it.
Yes, sir. So council, I would encourage each of you, your questions, concerns, direct them to the town manager, and the town manager will get back and respond.
And all I can respond to you right now is, it wasn't buried. We advertised the budget as we're required to do in the newspaper, and under proposed rates and fees for FY23, it's clearly there about both the water and the sewer tap fees going up. So it was advertised in the newspaper.
Okay.
As to why other people didn't know about it, I can't speak to whether they read or the information or not, but it was published in the newspaper. And our senior staff that put the budget together with the Budget and Finance Committee were
About
all,
100% increase?
it's actually,
It doubled, 100%.
it did. It
So
did.
100% increase.
Water went from 1 to 2 and sewer went from 1,500 to 3. And when you look at the statewide rates, the water rates are still $1,000 below the median, which is $3,000, and the sewer rates are $1,000 below the median charge, which is $4,000. So we had not increased them. I can't say for sure how long it's been, but I think it's been since the 90s since they were increased. But it was advertised in the budget.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's our fault for not reading it. We just didn't realize that we needed to go through and check every line item. That our stuff was gonna double what we try to do in the town. I mean, like in my situation, those projects over there total almost $2.8 million. And, we've acquired some other land in La Crosse. Doesn't really bode for me to do business in South Hill if I've gotta pay that type of rate increase. A whole lot easier for me just to go build in La Crosse.
Understood.
All right, thank you. Mr.
Thank you.
Freeman. The next
Mr. May, excuse me, can I ask,
citizen, this is the citizens to address council. So any questions I would ask you direct to the town manager.
okay,
Okay. The next citizen to address council, Mr. William Daniel.
I wanted to,
And if you would, come to the microphone, state your name.
my name is William Daniel. I own Late Night Customs in South Hill, Virginia. I've been part of this community doing paint and body work for over 25 years. I've worked at every shop around here. I've always never had a problem anywhere. Never had a problem with law enforcement showing up at my shop or the fire department or anything. I just purchased 613 West Danville Street. In the last month and a half of being in business, I've had the police called 3 times for irrelevant, nothing truthful behind it. I've had the fire department called on me by the neighbors who are trying to move into the business next to me. I wanted to pass out these to council if I can, what's going on,
If you will hand them to council.
and I'll go over them with y'all. Basically, the body shop that they're trying to put in next door is, if you look at the first one, there's just not significant parking. They're trying to put parking there. There's always been a body shop here, there's a body shop across the street. That's a lot for one area in South Hill. They're trying to add a fence to it, they're trying to say they want more parking. It's just, there's not enough room. Not only that, but like, they said, we're supposed to follow guidelines. Y'all gave me guidelines as far as moving into my shop. I had to follow every single one of them, and I have followed. They've been through here the same process I was, and if you look at the pictures, they say they was not allowed to do business, okay? Now, they don't even have a business license yet. They didn't in that building. On 6/30, there was a wrecked car that they parked out there. They said we can't have any wrecked cars. On July 1st, another red car parked out. I was told, we was all told we cannot have red cars on the front street. Okay, then we're not supposed, they won't post the right estimates in the building. They won't post the work out of the building. I just want everyone to follow the same guidelines that I'm supposed to follow. On 531, state trooper walks in, gets the estimate, walks right out. Not supposed to be conducting business. Okay, another car on 616, customer goes in, gets the estimate, walks back out with no business license. I mean, I just want everyone to follow the same guidelines, the same rule. And does the town really need the revenue of the cops and the fire department being called out for false stuff every single day? I've been here, I've never had a problem in my life. I worked at every shop. Then the other day, I'm on Front Street, my door gets kicked in the other day. I worked on the back street, and I'd say, you know, I'm not saying shady, but a little rougher on the back street, never had a problem. I move up to the front street, and then my door gets kicked in. It's just, is this the type of stuff that we want in this town? Because I don't think it's a very good place for another body shop. Like, we have enough shops in the area. I have 6 people working with me. I have 16 cars in my building at one time. I can hold 15 cars in the back. And I have no problem getting cars out. I don't think we need another shop that's out there. That's all I need to say.
All right, thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Marion, just before we move forward, so when do we adopt? So we're no longer addressing citizens, or we can't ask questions amongst ourselves?
Our protocol is, from a standpoint, at this part of the forum, the citizens are addressing council. And if council sees a need for a motion or a movement, then it would be made at a later, at additional business or other business.
I would just like to have been notified that as a council person prior to this meeting tonight.
Okay.
Because to the general public, it looks like we're being squashed, and I don't want that mood to be out there. I want to be able to talk to my constituents. Okay. Again, I would have liked to have known that before tonight.
Okay. Point made.
Attorney did tell us this before right now. He told us
This is the first I've heard of it. We've always had discussions between us.
15 minutes ago before we got started.
We did?
He made that statement in there.
No,
about motion and what he should do.
He just made the request to appear late this afternoon. That's what we heard.
I didn't know about it. I'm sorry. So I didn't get the memo. Some people do, some people don't. I didn't get it.
Okay. The next individual to address council, Mr. Waycroft.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for some people.
You state your name, sir.
All right, I'm Wade Crowder. First thing I want to address is Ben Taylor. Every time I make a comment, then he has a comment afterwards. Both lights and security, good idea. When I come along, you keep your zipper zipped up, you have a whole lot less trouble in life. To those who know what I'm talking about, it hits you right in the face. All right, now, the town manager, we don't need him. He needs to be a pothole fellow because he can't count and he can't tell the truth. 80% of what he tells, wait a minute, my time, 80% of what he tells is probably wrong. About 20% is the truth. That's his name and his address. And how old he is. Maybe that's the truth. But the rest of it ain't the truth. And you need to do something about it. He can't tell the truth. He can't handle money. He can't count. And it just continues on snowballing. And I only get 3 minutes in 30 days. So I have to do whatever I have to try to push it to the people that he ain't qualified to do the job. He's not qualified. And he thinks up here and we're down here. He is sticking to contractors, and he knew all about this stuff. The idea is to stick to people that's been here a while. People just moving in, oh, buddy, kiss their boots. People been here all their life trying to make a living, let's sock it to them. And he don't have no business here. He don't have no money here besides a little small house. He don't have no investment in Sofield I know of. And here he is, trying to do us in Sofield. And he's doing us, and this is just the beginning. If you don't kick him in the butt now, it ain't gonna never get no better. Because he's thinking out of this category. Maybe he needs to be in Washington. They got more fielders up there than we do here. We don't even qualify with them. They don't know the difference between a man and a woman in Washington. So, damnest I have ever seen.
Mr.
And
Crowder,
also-
Mr. Crowder,
no, wait a minute. It's my time. It's my time. You're supposed to sit down and be
Mr. Mayor,
quiet.
Mr. Mayor, I would encourage the speaker not to curse.
Okay.
We have children who watch us, and this is one of the issues
minutes.
with the public and the
I want
disintegration
3
of discourse.
minutes. I want
Pause this time.
3
Pause this
minutes.
time. Pause this time. Mr. Crowder, you
you
are a
better back it
passionate
up.
man.
Back it up.
Please express your thoughts to us without cursing. We have children
What cuss
watching.
words did I
and
say?
You said, I'm not going to repeat it. You know what you said.
Spell it to me.
We're better than expletives.
Spell it to me then.
We're better than expletives. Please make your point passionately, but without
Spell
cursing,
it to
sir.
me then, if you know how to spell it.
I can spell it. Can you?
No, I don't know how to spell. I don't have the education you do, or the education he got. But I do know how to count money, and I can tell a story every time I turn around.
Mr. Crowder.
Now, I'm gonna cool down a little bit. Let's start it over again. Back up for 25 seconds.
All right, if you would calmly present your point, please.
Okay? I need my 25 seconds, because he broke in on me.
We'll just continue talking.
Okay, all right. We need a new town manager. He's not qualified. I got no confidence in him. And the biggest part of the people got no confidence in him. And you talking about my little sign with the toot the horn, it sounds like an army brigade sometimes. So we need a new town leader. And if y'all want to keep him, keep him. But put him on a pothole duty. Because he can't count no higher than 4. Thank you.
Okay, the next citizen to address council is Richie Walters. I want to say it correctly. Is that correct? Did I say it incorrectly? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's right.
Okay. Representing Southside Collision. I'm just trying to.
Is it better, were you gonna speak under the public hearing?
He was just gonna speak, we were all gonna speak on behalf of Southside Collision.
Did they ask to speak at the public hearing or as a citizen to address council? That's my question.
They've signed the citizens to address
Okay.
council.
Yeah, we didn't know
Are
it
you
was
Lisa?
signed. Yeah.
Okay, we already have you down under the public
We have.
hearings.
All right.
Did you wish to speak at both or specifically just the public hearing?
Just the public.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
All right.
thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We're gonna get it straight. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Town manager report.
Actually, public hearing.
Public hearing. Okay.
David Hash could not be with us tonight, so I'll conduct this public hearing. We received a request for special exception permit under Article 4, Section 94.1-76 of our zoning ordinance to use the properties located at 603 and 609 West Danville Street for automobile assembling, painting, upholstering, repairing, rebuilding body and fender work, truck repairing, and overhauling. And most of you know that's up at the corner of West Danville Street, and I believe it's Warren Street is where these two properties are. They are owned by Charles A. Lynn Jr., and the requests are being made by Lisa Kelly. And so I'll mention that the Planning Commission is recommending approval of the request with the following stipulations: that any vehicle left for repair in the morning hours must be removed to the fenced-in area, not visible to the public, no later than 12 noon on the same day. The second stipulation is any vehicle left for repair after 12 noon must be removed to the fenced-in area, not visible to the public, no later than 5 p.m. on that day. No vehicle left for repair shall remain visible over the weekend. No automobile parts, scrap or new, shall be visible to the public at any time, and all stored vehicles must be behind a wooden fence behind the Hart Building and not visible to the public. And at this time, I would like to open the public hearing and this opportunity to come to the microphone and speak.
Nervous, don't mind.
Please state your name again, please.
Lisa Kelly,
Thank
Southside
you.
Collision. Southside Collision has been serving the community since 1980. Before the owner, Scott Pinnell, passed away, it was his wish that we continue his legacy. We were forced to move out of our location and move next door into a building we were already in, 609 West Danville Street. Collision shops are a lost art. Most collision shops are so booked, they are no longer accepting any more vehicles. We are bringing business into the town of South Hill from over an hour away. We are one of the few shops that are certified. Several of the collision shops in the area are thinking of closing, which will now make the 6 months waiting list even longer. Our business is needed. I don't know if you all saw the packets. Okay, I think that's good. All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak
In the crowd?
to address this issue on a public hearing on this request for a special exception?
I don't get much time. I don't get as much as I can. If the town needs to businesses, get them. But don't let's kill them before they get here. Y'all just killing people. That water and sewage is just ridiculous, jumping it up. Oh yeah,
You have to speak to this issue only.
Mr. Crowder,
but I'm telling you to keep people in town. I don't blame people. I'd leave out of town too. And y'all took me into town. I didn't want to be a person in town. I was satisfied.
Mr. Crowder, okay, thank you.
I'm not.
I understand, but in reference to this, sir,
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Yeah,
if you would state your name, please.
Chad Fuller.
Okay.
Same corner since 2000. No issue with them being there. You know, I told them at the original thing, we lost 7 people, I think, since last June. 3 mechanics, 3 in auto body. You can't keep losing people. You got to bring in as much into a trade that's no longer there. I mean, you're not teaching it. Nobody's doing it. I mean, their pro shops staffed with 15 people say 90 days, don't bring your car, or we'll tow it back home. So we're really in a bad situation, not just here, but everywhere. Nationwide for skilled workers in this trade. So like I said, I've been there since 2000, so I got no issue with being there.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this issue? Seeing that there are none, I'll close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I'm the town representative from the Planning Commission, and we had discussions regarding this matter for our past 2 Planning Commission meetings. And we've looked at it from all sides, pros and the cons, and after listening to everybody for 2 meetings, we came up with the recommendation that were listed by the town manager. And as I explained to Lisa and to Richie and to everybody that was in attendance, these are only the Planning Commission's recommendations. I advised them that I could not speak for what the council would impose or would not impose. That's totally up to the council. The 5 recommendations regarding the vehicles, where they would be parked, when they should be moved, they shouldn't be visible over the weekend, etc., both Lisa and Reggie both said that they would accommodate this, that there would not be any problem. Mr. Fuller said that if there was needed, they could put vehicles at his lot if they came in over the weekend, and it would be no problem for that to take place. That is one of the reasons that we put these recommendations in to the town council. And as stated earlier, the Planning Commission recommended it, but it's entirely up to the council.
Who is going to police these recommendations?
Code official.
Okay.
We discussed it, Mr. Hash was at both meetings, and he was in agreement with this also.
Mr. Vice Mayor, question. Was it a recommendation made that a fence be put up prior to them opening for the storage?
I do not remember it being stated that it had to be put up prior to. We recommended that the wooden fence would be placed there to keep the vehicles behind it, behind the Hart building. They said there would be no problem doing that. I think they were already beginning the process of doing so. I do not know if that would affect the business license being issued or not. I do know that there was another matter regarding a paint room, and Mr. Hash stated that the paint room would have to be installed and in place prior to any business license being given to them. And they were in agreement with that.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor.
I drove by there today, and there is a fence in that area is that fence already in place that's
So
being?
we're going to extend it, on the side street. How many feet, Chuck, was that? 10 feet, and also towards the front of the Hart building, which will, give us another 5-6 spots for cars, as of right now.
It's in the diagram.
It's in the packet that you have. There's ample room for parking, hidden parking.
We have more parking there than we did at 613.
Okay, so have you closed?
The public hearing has been closed.
Council, would you pledge?
I would make a recommendation that special exception 2022-5 be approved with the recommendations from the Planning Commission being imposed.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
We had a couple of additions to my report tonight, but the first one has to do with the Highway 58 bypass Arterial project. And our staff has been working with Chad Neese of the Southside Planning District Commission across the street, and with VDOT personnel to prepare applications for a smart scale program funding for various phases of the Highway 58 project. And the next application is due on August the 1st of this year. And just a little bit of history, on June the 20th, 2019, Michael Baker International, a consulting firm engaged by VDOT, presented the Highway 58 Arterial Plan to our street committee. And the committee approved the plan for presentation to the full council and the public. We held a public information meeting on July 31st to provide an overview of the plan and recommendations to council and the public and to answer questions. And the project area is generally from the South Hill Eastern corporate limits to just west of the Country Lane and Atlantic Street intersection. At our August 12, 2019 meeting, council adopted a resolution approving the plan for inclusion in the South Hill Comprehensive Plan to ensure our eligibility for smart scale funding. But due to the large scale of the project, and it is a big project, VDOT recommended approaching the work in phases, with work beginning on the outer boundaries and then moving inward toward the interstate interchanges. So they've already begun the survey and engineering work for the initial phase of the project at Country Lane intersection. And we had committed a match to that of not quite $600,000. And then the following resolution that's in your packet indicates our support for the second phase of the project. And for that, this is on the eastern end of town for that High Street connector and the roundabout, which is generally in the vicinity of Applebee's. And the current estimated cost of those are just over $11.3 million. $9.5 million for the roundabout and $1.8 million for the High Street connector road. You'll recall that council informally committed to a total project match of $3 million, which was about 10% of the total expected cost at that time. We do not know what the total cost is going to be now. But what we're recommending for this match, for this part of the project, is $1 million. And we have to adopt this resolution to apply for this funding for the second phase of the project.
Council?
Well, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I move to adopt a resolution supporting and endorsing the application of VDOT Smart Scale funding for the eastern boundary of Highway 58 Arterial Plan and to provide matching funds of $1 million.
Second.
Yeah.
Any discussion? Roll call, Anna?
Spoon,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Honeycutt,
Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Moss,
Yes.
Ben Taylor,
Yes.
and Joseph Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you. The next item I have is about disposal issues. We had an unannounced visit by the Department of Environmental Quality on June the 16th to our wastewater treatment plant. And as a result of that visit, town staff is looking at alternative methods of disposing of various materials. We've been burning leaves, brush, and grass and other items at that burn site for many, many years. But DEQ has said we can no longer do so, and they have said there is no chance or no possibility of obtaining a waiver. We don't agree with the DEQ position for a variety of reasons, but we've learned over the years in dealing with this agency on a lot of different issues, including wastewater treatment, industrial sewer users, landfill matters. Whenever there's a changeover in staff of DEQ personnel, interpretations of the guidelines also change, and generally they become stricter and impose additional and more costly requirements on the town. Contesting their position would likely result in a long and expensive legal battle. So, as it's not practical to discontinue that service, we are looking at other methods to accomplish the task. Unfortunately, the cost of providing the service has increased or will increase significantly. For now, in the immediate situation, any collected debris would have to go to an open landfill to be disposed of and burned. Additional cost to maintain the current level of service will include extra personnel, more fuel, greater vehicle wear and tear, landfill tipping fees not previously paid, and some other cost. Over the past 3 years, we've collected an average of 478 loads annually, each weighing about 5 tons. At this collection rate, the additional annual cost of providing this service and disposing of it at landfill is expected to exceed $100,000. We're continuing to look for ways to lower this cost, but it may involve purchasing or leasing some additional equipment. We don't know the answer to it yet, but we're looking at everything that we can do. Further, we will also enter a contract to shred documents on site. The cost of shredding will vary depending on the weight and the volume of the documents. The next round of documents to be destroyed is small, and the estimated cost will be around $500. Most record destruction events will involve larger volumes of non-confidential records, and the cost would be more. Council does not need to take any action on it. It's just for your information on it.
Thank you.
The next item came up just late last week.
May I interrupt just a second?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, that's okay. I just wanted to do a sidebar.
Yes.
For those who are watching online, that they wondered what just happened. Fire department just got a call, correct me if I'm wrong, and that is a testament as to how quickly they will respond. But I think it's great.
Yes,
Sorry
it
that
is.
they have to respond, but it's great that they can do it so quickly.
Immediately.
Please go ahead.
Sure, thank you. The next item came up late last week. With the opening of the new Mecklenburg County High and Middle School campus, Parkview High and Middle Schools will not be operated as they have been for many, many years. And as such, we have worked for months to try and ensure the South Hill Yellow Jackets have a nice place to play their home football games. Our understanding, after placing phone calls with a lot of different people, is that our local youth football teams will be encouraged, not just South Hill, but Chase City, Clarksville, and other county towns will be encouraged to play their games at the new Mecklenburg County High and Middle School campus, as they have done so for decades. Since long before I played, the Yellow Jackets will continue to practice at Centennial Park on the upper field. Some local businesses are stepping up and working together to try to help strengthen the Yellow Jackets program. They're trying to acquire equipment, new and better padding, small blocking sleds, cones, and other items needed to have a safe and successful football program for the kids. To that end, one of the involved business leaders, Jason Dawson, met with staff on July 8 and asked about the possibility of placing a nice storage building in an out-of-way corner at Centennial Park off of Upper Field for storing this equipment. It just simply isn't practical for a coach to load up a blocking sled and cones and take them home and transport them every day. The Yellow Jackets will pay for the storage building at a location approved by town staff. So CJ and Jason and I would go down there and we would talk with the Yellow Jackets about the appropriate place for the building to be located. If electricity is available, Mr. Dawson said that they would be happy to install some security lights for obvious reasons. And we have been supporting the Yellow Jackets for years, and just as we have our Dixie softball and baseball programs, but we've helped the baseball and softball with some facilities, and so staff is recommending that we do the same for the Yellow Jackets. So we're asking for a motion to approve them installing this building at a location to be approved by us at their cost.
So moved. Second.
Do I have the motion was by whom?
Gavin or who?
And then second. All right. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you. And the last item also came up late last week on Thursday. I know our fire department just had to leave, but the normal procedure for paying the contributions payment to the fire department has been that we would make the payment in early December for the previous year's fire calls. But on July 5th, the Director of Finance and Administration received an email with a check request for round one of this funding. And the period indicated on the form was for calls from December 1 of last year through June 30th of this year. Sheila and CJ met with the fire chief, Michael Vaughn, because we were a little bit surprised by it because we were assuming that we would just continue to pay it as we all have. But after some different conversation, the fire department's requesting that we make the payments in 2 installments, one in July and one in January. And it will help the volunteers do some things financially. In the middle of the year, property tax payments are often due. So what we're suggesting is that we go ahead and pay this request for the 7 months of calls. And then we would pay for the calls from July through November in January of 23. From January 23 forward, if council so desires, we can make a payment in July for calls from December through May 31st, December 1 through May 31st, and then the final payment would be in January for the calls from June through November. It would allow the fire department to do, to review their records, have a little more time to submit paperwork, and it would eliminate some of the rush. And while it's not in keeping with our usual process, we do have the money to pay that first round now, if you so desire. So if you would like to make that happen, we just need a motion approving the change in the timing of the payment for the fire department calls to July and January.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Question. So we're gonna pay July and then January, so it won't be a payment this year in December?
That's correct. What we will do, they've requested 7 months worth of calls right now instead of 6. So
you're just offsetting it next year?
So we will pay the final 5 months in January, and then going forward, we will make the first payment in July and the second one in January.
December. Okay.
6 months of calls.
Excuse me, just because I heard something different. You said December. Say that again the second. I'm sorry. Say that again the second time because I heard.
Okay, for this year.
Going forward, I'm talking next year. Next year.
So for next year,
yes,
they would submit a request for 6 months worth of payment from December 1 through May 31st. We would make that payment in July. And then they would submit another request for the remainder of the year, the June calls through November. And we would make that payment in January. So it's 6 months both times. We just pay it in July and January.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other further discussion?
If I'm allowed to say something, I'd like to ask a question.
We're still in discussion.
Okay. What is the total to the first round?
Just under $70,000. I think 69,000 and change. Is that correct?
Okay.
Just under 70,000.
I'm gonna just say round it off.
70,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That's the only
Anything
question I
else?
had.
Okay.
No.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, excuse me. As far as the disposal issues, recommendation of legal counsel, I want to present this to the town manager.
Thank you.
Those are records that are not destroyed.
Finance report.
Good evening.
In analyzing our fund balance, currently the VML VACO VIP stable NAV liquidity pool was yielding 1.48% interest, and that was as of July 1st. The town is currently earning 0.2% interest on the checking account with First Citizens Bank. For every $1 million invested in the VIP stable NAV liquidity pool, the town could potentially earn an estimated additional $12,800 in interest per year. As of last Friday, July 8th, that interest rate had increased to 1.56%, which means that for every $1 million, we could now earn an additional $13,600 per year. The VIP stable NAV liquidity pool is for funds that may be needed immediately and features daily liquidity. Staff additionally recommended transferring or initially recommended transferring up to $10 million from the checking account with First Citizens Bank to the VIP stable NAV liquidity pool to take advantage of rising interest rates and increase potential earnings. There's a chart in your packet that shows what the potential additional earnings are. Last Friday, the town manager and I met with representatives of First Citizens Bank. We have received some preliminary information, but are awaiting more definitive answers. So at this time, it is our recommendation that we move $8 million from our checking account to the VIP stable NAV liquidity pool until more information is received from First Citizens Bank. We can invite them to attend the August meeting if you all would like for them to do so. But we do need to keep a certain amount of money in our checking account to avoid fees. And that's we have some information on that, an estimate, but we do not have a definitive answer on that yet. That's why we would like to, instead of the 10 million that we'd initially said, reduce that to $8 million. And we can pull money out of that account anytime we need to. If you all decide you would like to invest some money with First Citizens Bank, then we can pull those funds back out and invest them there. But we hate to leave this interest sitting on the table.
What's the rationale for not waiting until you meet with First Citizens and then, if needed, to transfer funds, depending upon what they come back with? Why can't we wait instead of moving it right now?
We can. I mean, each day is just additional interest that we're losing. And I don't know exactly when they will come back to us with the answers that we need. And if you all would like to meet with them, that wouldn't be until next meeting in August. So we're potentially, losing interest that we could be earning. But that's completely up to the council.
Councilman Hunter.
You said first that you all have talked with First Citizens and the low interest rate on the checking accounts. What other local entities or banks have we checked with as far as what they will pay us? We have several other hometown banks that have invested interest in this community.
And periodically we put that out for bid. We haven't done that in the last couple of years, so we have not checked with other banks recently. The most you're probably going to get is a CD, a certificate of deposit, is the most that probably any other bank would allow, unless we completely moved all of our checking account and everything
Well,
to that bank.
that's what I didn't mean a CD. I meant to move the checking account portion of it, of what you were talking about.
Right. And we have not checked with those banks.
We do an
Town
RFP
manager.
for banking services every 5 years. Is what we do for the whole range of services and that sort.
How long have we been with First Citizens?
I can't tell
20
you
years?
exactly, but a long time.
20 years?
Almost since I've been here, and it's been 22.
Okay.
Yes.
And they were initially paying 0.5% interest on our checking account. And they came to us back in March, I believe it was, and said because the interest rates had dropped so much, they needed to reduce that rate to 0.2%. They did that effective April 1. Now that interest rates are rising, I have also asked them what they can do for us on the checking account, but I have not received an answer yet on that either.
And again, I would concur with Councilman Moody that it would be my opinion that we wait until, that's a significant amount of money.
It is.
And, to be good stewards, I'd wait and see what they have to offer before we make that move, but that's my opinion.
Councilman Taylor?
Ms. Cottrell, is there a term for the interest rate of what now is 5.3, you said? 5.6?
Currently 1.56.
All right, is there a term for that? Is there a commitment in terms of time that we have to invest those funds to earn the fee?
No.
Is there a penalty for withdrawing the funds from VML VACO and sending it back to a local bank or some other institution?
There is not. There is daily liquidity on this account.
All right, the 1.48, is it variable? Is this a fixed rate for a period of time or is it variable?
It varies.
Okay,
That
I assume
1.48 that was effective July 1 is now 1.56.
But once
it can change daily.
So once the commitment of funds is made, it can still be variable?
Yes.
That's what you're suggesting, okay?
Yes, that's correct.
I guess the comment I would make is while I appreciate the thought of waiting to make sure we explore all the options, this isn't, and you're the expert on this in finance, this isn't so much a matter of earning more money, it's salvaging money. The effect of inflation has so diminished the value of the money we do have that any additional interest we can salvage is, I think, very significant. So thank you for looking at this, and I perhaps we'll wait, but I don't know. I haven't.
Councilman Honeycutt?
One other comment, again, I didn't realize that it was every 5 years. To me, that's a long time. With the rates and all change and what banks have to offer us locally, but that's an extensive period of time. Every 5 years, is that normal, customary?
Should clarify that. Generally, with services, you're required to do. With those types of services, you're required to request proposals every 5 years. This is for the overall banking services, for the things that we need on a day-to-day basis. As different things mature, like in the past when CDs have matured, when we used to have an investment account with First Citizen, so when it came to maturity, we put those out to ask for locally, regionally, for all banks to ask what interest they can pay us on investments. So that goes out whenever an investment matures. So that's a little different from the banking services themselves.
Okay.
If my memory serves me correctly, there were several times we had several banks that didn't bid
did not.
On those. I'm not going to call any names, but they just didn't bid for whatever reason.
Right. Sheila, and I know the interest rate varies day to day, whatever. Is there any way that you could estimate the difference in the funds gain, loss in 30 days with the way the interest rate is going now? If we move $8 million right now versus August, can you?
Well, I don't have any idea what the interest rates are.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to continue to go up.
Going up.
I'm sure they will continue to increase, but that would be kind of hard to determine, not knowing where they will go in the next 30 days.
Councilman Tyler?
When you say deposit these funds with First Citizens Bank or whatever local bank it could be, it is with our local bank. It's not with a regional bank or the national bank if it was something like a Truist or something. These funds are deposited with our local bank at this time, correct?
At this time, yes.
At this time.
That's correct.
All right. I would prefer, I agree with Mr. Moody to wait a month while we make sure we explore all the local options. I know that's a significant bite, but at the same time recognize, I would hope we won't wait longer than a month because the value of the money is significant that we would earn.
So is that in form of a motion, Councilman?
Yes.
If that's okay.
Okay, I'm gonna come back. All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, further discussion now.
Just one quick question. Can we open this up to the other financial institutions in town to see what they would be willing to, if they want to look at it or they don't? But just give them the offer? We're letting First Citizens have offer. Can we just let them offer also?
Okay.
I mean, they might decline. I mean, they might say, no, we don't want, but I mean, there might be some other banks that might be needing to lend some money or maybe need the deposits. I don't know.
And unfortunately, a lot of banks do not want public deposits because of the collateralization that has to
Right.
be done. So.
But I mean, if we're going to open it, wait for First Citizens, I would like to see us, if we could go ahead and let everybody take the opportunity to have a chance to see. I mean, it's not going to take any more time. I mean, you put a deadline on it or whatever it may be and go from there.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question. With the performance of the liquidity pool, and I know it showed a increase again last month, but it decreased again this last cycle. You know, the interest rates have been steadily going up, and that performance of that account has been steadily in the negative. Why do we have to invest any more money in it at all?
These are two different pools we're talking about.
Yeah, this is a different one.
We're talking about the stable NAV liquidity pool, which currently has just over $5 million on it. That pool is not marked to market.
Got you.
Okay. It does not earn this higher interest rate as the 1 to 3 year bond pool. But we're talking about putting it in the liquidity pool, not the bond pool. So this is not marked to market, and the interest rate is lower than the 1 to 3 year, but it is not affected by the mark to market.
Can we transfer it out of the mark to market account into this pool?
We can, but if we do,
minimize the loss that we've been suffering on that account.
You're going to lose money.
if we transfer it, then we.
But it's just on
actually,
paper.
Not if you transfer it out.
That's my whole point. Everybody's been telling me for 10 months, well, it's just on paper, it's just on paper. Well, no, it's a real loss.
Well, it will come back given time. Given time, it will come back. That's just the nature of that type of market.
Nature of the beast.
All right, for clarity, Mr. Taylor wants to amend his motion.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to delay for 1 month, our decision on whether to transfer the requested amount of $8 million from First Citizens Bank to the VML VACO Fund to permit the town manager and director of finance to consider all other local finance options, in addition to an update with the VML VACO interest rate that will be presented at the next town council meeting. That's a long one for the minutes, but that's the motion.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Question. We're locked in on 1 month. I mean, we're locked in on 1 month because I know First Citizens has been, I don't know, you want to use the word slow, but they have to check with their people. I mean, are we telling all the local banks you have 30 days? If we do it tomorrow, it's a drop dead date of 30 days.
And that was why I put emphasis on 1 month.
Okay.
Because we need to move this money.
That's fine. Thank you.
Any other further discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, Anna.
Fagan Spoon?
Yes.
Graham?
Yes.
Honeycutt?
Yes.
Lester?
Yes.
Moody?
Yes.
Moss?
Yes.
Ben Taylor?
Yes.
And Joseph Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, council, in your packet was the reports to be approved as presented for the month of June. I have a motion for approval. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Council, any committee reports?
The only thing from the Parks Committee would be that the South Hill Dixie Youth did win their game again this afternoon and play the Ozone, play tomorrow night, opponent to be determined, and I'm not sure how the coach pitch did today.
They were winning pretty well when I left.
So if you want to see some good baseball, Parker Park is the place to be locally.
And can I, if I may, if it's okay, Just hats off to all the grounds people over there. They took a picture of it the other day, and I actually rode over there the other night. We were out riding, and they have just done a phenomenal job on our Parks and Rec over there. I mean, it's just second to none. And I go a lot of places, but Councilman Moody and Mr. Callis it's exceptional. The park, I don't think I've seen the grounds look that good in a long, long time, but they did an excellent job.
I believe they're short-staffed too, aren't they? I think.
We are, but we were able to pull some folks from other areas that stepped up to help. And they had a lot of rain on Sunday, and they did a great job to get the ball fields ready to play today. The rain helped us to a degree, but it also inconvenienced us. They have done a yeoman's job. So
I wish I could take credit, but I can't. It's Jason Hutchins and that crew over there. They have been unbelievable in what they've had to go through to get it ready and maintain it.
Any other business? Okay, council, I would entertain a motion to convene in closed session to discuss the following as permitted by Virginia Code Section 2-2-3711, legal matters involving consultation with counsel on A subset 7, potential litigation, and A subset 8, asset sale negotiation, and A subset 1, confidential personnel matters involving discussion on the performance of specific personnel.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mike.
Can I
It's on.
Okay, council. Okay, let's see. I would entertain a motion to adjourn the closed session and reconvene in open session.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Anna? Okay, and then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I would entertain a motion to certify the closed session by affirming that while in closed session, there was no formal action taken, and that only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements were discussed, and only public business matters identified in the motions convening the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered. I would entertain a motion to certify this.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Okay. Roll call, Anna.
Fagan Spoon,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Honeycutt,
Yes.
Luster,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Moss,
Yes.
Ben Taylor,
Yes.
and Joseph Taylor.
Yes.
Okay, council, we are now in open session. Anything else?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, in light of Mr. Freeman's comments earlier tonight about those hookup and sewer tap fees, I'm not sure if it'd be a policy committee meeting or a budget and finance committee meeting, but can we look at, and I've mentioned this before, putting together a development type grant program, kind of shadowing our facade program with different numbers of houses required inside the town limits, maybe on a yearly basis, that we can look at working with these contractors. We're certainly within a housing crisis here in South Hill. I don't think it's any denying that at this point. And if we have contractors that are willing to invest, millions of dollars here in this town, what can we do to help them and encourage housing growth? So I'm not sure which committee it would need to go to, but I'd like to see us entertain the possibility of coming up with some kind of program and maybe even get feedback from some contractors and realtors as far as how we could structure that.
Any other discussion on that, council? Is that in a form of a motion?
Yes, sir. I'd like to make that in a motion.
All right, could you, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so if council wants to do that, I would suggest that you just look at the subdivision ordinance, because I can tell you that in our everybody wants to manage costs, understandable, but our subdivision ordinance does not require curb and gutter to be installed when new subdivisions are built. And it saves a little bit of money on the front end, but it creates a lot of cost on the back end to not have curb and gutter in the right drainage system. So what you're suggesting would fit into an analysis of the subdivision ordinance to see, if we're going to look at one thing, let's look at all of them and see how it makes sense to look at that ordinance and do the big picture.
I would second the motion with discussion, because I think Mr. Freeman came with the specification of the water, that it's gone up, and I don't remember just I was in on every one of those budget meetings. I do not remember that being a topic of discussion or a line item that we addressed. If I did, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I just wanted that to be out there, that I was not privy to that in those 3 days that I sat through those meetings. So, but I think we definitely should look into something like that because again, they're reinvesting in the community where this young man has grown up, along with Mr. Hayes and a lot of the other contractors. But times are getting a little tighter, and I think anything we can do to help them to make a mark and to help us with our housing issue would be a priority that this council should address.
Mr. Kessler, would this be something that we could look at if a developer wishes to put X number of residencies, homes, townhouses, whatever, in a certain area, then the town could do an incentive to him or her, like a reduced rate for the initial hookups? Is that what we're looking for?
Well, that's what I'm suggesting, yes. I don't think it's a one-home deal.
Yeah, it's like
Maybe it's 3 homes in 12
4, 5,
months.
whatever. Okay.
Maybe it's an apartment complex.
Yes.
But if they're reinvesting it, I'm not talking about a one-off home. I'm talking about a housing project.
That seems reasonable.
Well,
Yeah.
we would need to look at, I suggest we look at a minimum number of connections in a project within a given period. Is that what you're
Absolutely.
suggesting?
Okay.
All right, Councilman Taylor.
To piggyback on what town manager said, because when I first came on council 10, 11 years ago, whatever it was, this issue of subdivisions, there was a lot of conversations about curb and guttering. And I think those kind of issues, I don't have a problem with what you're talking about. I think that's fine. But I think we need to look at its entirety and have Mr. Hash give us some input in it too, because curb and guttering and lighting and all those standards need to be looked at.
And it may need to be a roundtable type conversation, maybe just before it even gets to committee. We need to, I think Councilman Taylor had a good suggestion with Mr. Hash. Again, I still think we need to get some input from some realtors and contractors to see what their side of it is facing. And then let's see if it is something amicable that we can do. We are in a housing crisis. It's no denying it. If you're denying it, you're very disconnected.
All right, so we're still in part of discussion, but for my benefit, for clarity of the motion and clarity of what the town manager said, when you say subdivision ordinance, who owns that document? Where is that document?
It's in the town code.
Okay, so that would be part of the code compliance officer?
Is it?
It's part of the code compliance officer as far as maintaining, reviewing or whatever?
Yeah. Well, the subdivision ordinance, yeah,
That's under his.
He ensures
Okay.
that.
I just want for clarity of the motion, I guess what I'm looking for here.
When we say clarity of the motion, we need a motion.
I got you. I got you.
Perhaps,
that's what I'm looking for, some clarity.
if you would, and please make a motion, I'll meet with our senior staff, we'll take this comment, and we'll come up with some ideas, and we'll bring them back to council. We might not be able to bring them back by August, but we'll bring them back to council and say, these are some issues that we need to consider. Not that we need to change them, or that we not need to change them, but these are some issues that we need to consider going forward.
But I would like to include, some of that industry in those conversations.
Sure.
Not just senior staff that doesn't build houses for a living or doesn't do curb and gutter for a living.
But I think we come up with the ideas, and then we can talk about reaching out to some people and saying, these are the issues that we faced, and there's a cost to it, and get their input, and then we can make an informed decision. But I think we need to identify a list of things first, and then we can schedule a public meeting.
Because we already have on Article 7 the zoning of planned residential requirements of what a developer has to do, et cetera, and this could piggyback on that as to what the town can do for the developer if they meet all the requirements.
I mean, as a general rule, developers are responsible for putting in the infrastructure to standard and turning it over to the town to maintain. Because at the end of the day, if there are no surprises, developers are the ones that are profiting for it, and it's very difficult to take your tax dollars and use them for the benefit of a new subdivision over here and a new taxpayer. So it's a balancing act that we have to figure out. But we can we'll meet with staff and come up with some ideas and present them, and if council likes them, we'll move forward. If not, we'll tweak them and go back again.
So, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that first we set up a roundtable discussion with senior staff and one of our committees. I'm not sure if it's a policy committee. It might be street committee. It may need to be budget and finance committee. But I would like it to include a committee and invited guests from that industry to put together a checklist so that they can start working on a grant program of what we can do to then bring back to us to discuss and vote on.
And I'll second the motion.
I'm not interested in it being just senior staff. This is, I don't think it's their expertise to do this.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Well, I think that the town manager's only saying this is a starting point. And you're open to people coming in, I mean, obviously.
With all due respect, I think if our senior staff can put something together and have a work session with the entire council, start a meeting at 6 o'clock, have a work session at 6 o'clock and say, these are the issues, and include what you've said. And then y'all have an opportunity to say, let's also add this, or let's take this one away and substitute something else. Once we get that together, then we can invite the industry people to come in and comment on it. But we need to start with something, otherwise it's going to be wide open and a free-for-all. We need to provide some structure to the conversation. And so that, I think, rather than a committee, have a work session with all of you, and you can comment.
Okay, that's not the, I hear what you're saying, but that the motion is not the motion on the floor.
That's not the motion that I made.
Right. So, any further discussion? So we have a motion and we have a second as stated. Okay. Roll call, Anna.
Bacon Spoon?
No.
Graham?
Yes.
Honeycutt?
Yes.
Lester?
Yes.
Moody?
Yes.
Moss?
Yes.
Ben Taylor?
No.
Joseph Taylor?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. So the motion has been carried. Okay.
So what exactly do you want us to do?
So
restate
the motion.
Shep's gonna have to restate the motion.
Don't, you got it recorded though, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Can that be reviewed after the meeting and y'all two get together? And if you have any questions, you can contact council regarding that matter. Is that possible? You can get the motion from the recording?
Yes.
Well, I think in fairness, his question is a very valid question.
What now? Okay.
In fairness to you, I think it's a very valid question on your part. What would you have me do? I mean,
Well, the motion included several different committees. It didn't identify one. You're ultimately talking about money. And so it seems appropriate that it be the Budget and Finance Committee first. And then if others, because you might get into water and sewer, you might get into the streets, you might get into all of that. But if you're going to get all those committees together, that's why I suggested the whole council have a work session. But we can start with the Budget and Finance Committee, and we'll go from there.
Well,
That wasn't his motion.
Well, I follow on that idea, and that wasn't the motion.
That wasn't his motion.
May I ask a question, Mr.
You can
Moss,
read that
Mr.
motion.
Mayor? Mr. Moss, Mr. Callis has just suggested what is probably the most efficient manner to conduct the meeting, which accomplishes your goal, which is to call it a work session. We enjoyed a retreat in February that was available to not just the industries involved, but also the public. This would accomplish precisely what you've asked for, but also efficiently take care of our senior staff executing.
And the contractors can come, or the realtors, or whomever wants to, can come to their work session.
Sure, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So.
And that was your motion, correct?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Okay. No, it wasn't.
So that was set up a roundtable discussion with senior staff.
But for clarity of this motion, it's been voted on and approved, we have to have due process, we have to do something with this motion that's been approved by council.
If anybody has voted in the affirmative, wishes to reconsider, they can make a motion to reconsider
was just adopted.
I would make a motion to reconsider what was just adopted by the council.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call, Anna.
Fagan Spoon.
Yes.
Graham.
Yes.
Honeycutt.
Yes.
Lester.
Yes.
Moody.
Yes.
Moss.
Yes.
Ben Taylor.
Yes.
And Joseph Taylor.
Yes.
So now, Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion to set up a study session with council to be set up by Mr. Callis, our town manager, at a date that is convenient for everyone and a location that he deems appropriate, to discuss grant program possibilities for multiple housing projects.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, Anna.
Fagan Spoon.
Yes.
Graham.
Yes.
Honeycutt.
Yes.
Lester.
Yes.
Moody.
Yes.
Moss.
Yes.
Ben Taylor.
Yes.
And Joseph Taylor.
Yes.
Great.
Okay. Anything else? Meeting adjourned.